and welcome back to my third video of Little Practical Steps. My name is Christine and on YouTube my name is Chrissy O. I have something that I want to share with all of you today, and it is seek to understand then to be understood. I heard this saying a couple of years ago, and honestly it was amongst a lot of things that I heard, but this stuck out to me so vividly, and I was just like, that is so amazing, because I know in myself I've gone through situations where I never understood it and did not care to understand because I felt like I was right, and let's be honest, we all want to be heard. Everyone wants to be heard, no matter what situation there is. Imagine if something's happened and someone wants to go before you, or the next person wants to go before you to explain or express themselves, or explain themselves, if I should say. They've already set the motion, they've already set the tone of what an agenda of how things went down, and you feel like, oh my God, no one's going to believe me because that person's gone. Or otherwise you might feel whichever way, but for me personally, I'll be like, oh my God, even if I know that, look, I have a point and I have something to say. But what I want to talk about is to seek to understand then to be understood. It does help us in a lot of ways, especially effective listening. How many times have we found ourselves in a situation when someone is talking and you're listening like this? This kind of listening is you're coming back with a response. So you're really not listening. All you're doing is just picking out words out of what the person is saying, because you already have a response about that, what the person has said. And you want to stop them in their track. You're like, okay, finish. Now what you're doing is just hurry up and talk, because I have something to say. I've picked it on the words you've used, something you've said, and I want to come back to that. Effective listening also goes hand in hand with seeking to understand then to be understood. Because if we listen effectively, we can understand the agenda and the point of references that other person is making as to why a situation turned out the way it did, or why they did what they did. And it helps you to have a clearer insight and good judgment of a situation that you're going to come to, approach the situation rather than the person, and let things die down, And that's one thing I wanted to share, because in my own life, when I've literally tried to implement, and when I say try, because I found myself in that place of, listening to respond rather than effectively listening to what a person is saying and then respond, and seek to understand then to be understood, because it's a circle of occurrence when you have to understand someone, and when one day someone has to understand you. But if you implement that grace and insight and patience, tolerance to when people are talking, it helps you to deal with the situation in a more simpler way. That I would say simpler way, because when you have insight to a situation, you don't carry the burden, the headache, this distraction in your emotions and in your heart and in your mind. So many reasons why we feel the way we feel. Woe to those who are not able to even express themselves and, just keep you quiet, and you try your best to understand what's happening. In that instance, I can only say, just leave it, let it burn, and as time goes on, you will get to understand. But where there is communication and someone is expressing themselves, how to listen effectively and use the situation in front of you, or past situation, if it's something you've been involved in, to have good judgment of what's going on. It helps you a lot. It helps you to get rid of unforgiveness, because also deep understanding and having that tolerance helps you to forgive. You might not always be right. The person might not always be right for whatever it is they've done, and if they're explaining to you why they've done it, we're all not perfect. But when we're able to do that, we're going to be able to forgive also, and to be sympathetic towards people, or sympathetic towards the situation that has occurred, just because we sought to understand then to be understood. You understand? Because we're all valuable, we're all important to one another. And if you want to maintain the relationships you're in right now, you want to keep your respect at your workplace, you don't want to find yourself arguing 24/7 with people all the time. Have you ever been around someone who just argues, and you're trying to say something and they're just like, nah, and you just get nowhere with it? We want to build ourselves. We're growing. Every little practical step in life is where the changes come inside of us. So before I go on, I'll just give the definition of understanding. And it says the ability to understand something, a comprehension. And I'm sure we've all done comprehension. I did comprehension in school alongside literature. Sympathetic awareness or tolerance, like I mentioned, to be able to have that, high tolerance, because you understand, you're not letting yourself just go all the time and just keep attacking all the time. Sympathetically aware of other people's feelings, tolerant and forgiving. And this really helps. It also said having insight or good judgment. It's what you leave with when you understand the situation, the insight that you have. It's going to help you. That's what you're going to go along with. You can leave things. To understand doesn't mean it's never all the time like, okay, yeah, I understand you. Yeah, okay. Oh, that makes sense. Yes, it will make sense, obviously, when you understand. But sometimes it could be in a relationship, you understand what the other person is saying and you have to leave it and keep moving on. It could be in a situation where you have to be let go, and they're telling you things that whatever, you have to understand and move on. And there's some situations that you understand and you have to forgive, and in all of them actually you do have to forgive. I'll be honest, because you don't want to go around with that burden of having unforgiveness, because we know unforgiveness isn't the best thing to carry around, the best emotion or the best way to handle things. It's not good. I know loads of people, I've heard loads of analogy of what it feels like to hold unforgiveness. For me personally, I'm not perfect. I'm so forgiving. I think sometimes it's my weakness. I'm so forgiving. And but it's like this, when they say unforgiveness, it's like drinking poison and expecting the next person to die from the poison you've drank. Or you're keeping someone captive in your mind and saying to yourself, oh, I'm not talking to this person, I will never forgive this person for what this person has done. And you think like, oh, because they're in a mental prison in your own head, you might feel that in real life that person is imprisonment because of you did not forgive that person. And that's the only, flag you have to wave about, I'm not forgiving this person. And people think it looks good on them when they don't forgive, but however, that person has gone on to live their life, their best life, to the fullest, and you're holding on to that. And what that would do to you is that would limit you. That would always cause anger inside of you. That will cause so many things that would just literally limit you. Because I'm a very big believer of your emotional well-being and emotional state, and it does reflect on the outward of things we do. You can always tell that people who are never really happy, people who are always miserable, never do much. And if you look in the environment, you can just almost tell. You understand what I mean? So learn to just let these things go. And understanding also is a very huge part of letting things go. Because if I process as well, I like to process things too. When things happen, situations happen, I'm a processor. I like to think, I like to process it. I'm not saying we're all the same. I do understand that we're different. In any way, shape or form, you can seek to understand when the person is talking to you. Effective listening, using your good judgment, being tolerant and forgiving. It's growth for you as well. It's growth. It doesn't make you the weaker person when you understand a situation and choose to do the right thing as well after you've understood the situation. If you have to apologize and say sorry. And also, one thing I would like to share as well is be careful the people you tell things to, situations to. For instance, you've had a misunderstanding with one friend. Say, for example, let me just give her a name, Lisa. You've had a misunderstanding with Lisa, and then you go tell Julie about the situation. Rather than Julie to be, give you good insight and good advice to say, maybe Lisa was in a bad mood. She's usually not like that. Or I know she's been like that lately, and I'm not sure what's going on with her. How about we give her some time and talk to her about it? Or let her come back to you if she's going to apologize. If not, whatever, just approach the situation. Lisa's going through a lot, or whatever the case may be. They'll say, oh, that girl, I know she's been doing that. She did that the other day. If I were you, I would tell her. You are going to leave that situation not understanding, but you're going to leave with conflict. You're not going to have any good insights to share. Situations will repeat itself until you learn from it. And that's the truth. You want to have good counsel around you, effective listening, tolerance, patience, and forgiveness in your heart. Either way, the way you want to forgive is up to you, but make sure you don't hold on to that unforgiveness because of lack of understanding. I read the Bible and it says, in all you're getting, get understanding. It's so important. That's one of the most important assets that would help us face our day-to-day challenges, help us understand emotional confusion, breakdown in communication. Sometimes it's because of lack of understanding, because communication can be there, however it's there, but it's to understand. in that communication that you're having. Okay, so I just wanted to share this all with you guys because it's been such an amazing blessing to me, and also something that has been very good for me to practice in my day-to-day life. And please be sure to like this video, share and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon. Take care and live it up.